To win over the male lead, I made breakfast with my own hands and placed it in his desk every day. Until one day a barrage of comments appeared before my eyes. Side character Haven T realized after all this time that you've been putting them in the wrong desk. That the villain's desk. Have you noticed, though, ever since the female side character delivered the wrong breakfast, that poor starving antagonist, who is as thin as a stick, has actually gained a little weight? Well, of course that side character is stuffing those sandwiches like they're pack mules, piling in every kind of meat and vegetable, might as well cram herself in there too. But it's kind of sad for the antagonist. He actually thought she liked him when she was just making a mistake. My footsteps faltered as I exited the classroom. Subconsciously, I raised my head and saw the corridor not far away. A gloomy, slender boy was looking at me with bright eyes. When the system found me, I was helping my mom flip pancakes at the school gate. It told me I was the female lead, and my mission was to win over the male lead, not to waste time here. Without looking up from the sizzling oil splatters, I called out a set of jianbingguizi. The system prompted, successfully completing the mission means cash reward. Did you know that? I swiftly untied the apron from my waist. Should be said so earlier. Let us have a chat then. I'm not great at pursuing people. The only thing I'm good at is flipping jianbing. The equally single system gave me an idea. Simple, just bring him breakfast every day to catch his attention. So I skillfully made a set of jianbingguizi and confidently headed toward the male lead's classroom. The system stopped me. Idiot, are you crazy? Look at what others are giving him. With that, it pulled up a photo and shoved it in my face. Homemade little bunny strawberry cakes, fancy shaped chocolates, and even meticulously crafted heart-shaped steak pasta. They stood in stark contrast to my set of greasy, smoke-infused jianbingguizi. I lowered my head in contemplation. Finally, it dawned on me it was Western food that needed to be delivered. Sandwiches are also considered Western cuisine. But after following the video tutorial, something just didn't look right to me. It felt a bit too plain and lacking in flavor. Just a lettuce leaf, a slice of ham, and a tomato slice. Is this enough to fill you up? Rich people are so pretentious. Let me show you how it's really done. So I fried up all the ingredients for jianbing and stuffed them inside. Fragrant fried chicken cutlets, tender and tempting pork tenderloin, sizzling bacon, and the irresistible wang sausage. Finally, a pack of my favorite Weilong spicy strips to top it off. Trust me, no one can resist it. One bite, and it's so delicious you wouldn't even notice if someone died beside you. Finally, I carefully placed the plump, generously filled sandwich into a Lee's jianbing paper bag and wrapped it in a plastic bag. The system fell silent for quite a while after seeing it. Hard to judge, but good luck to you. Hard to judge? What's hard to judge? It's clearly a success, okay? When she sneaked into the male lead William's classroom at night, the sandwich in the desk compartment was already gone. Instead, there was a spotlessly clean Lee's jianbing paper bag, not a single vegetable leaf left inside. Neatly folded and placed in a corner of the desk compartment. Seems like it really suits the male lead's taste. He didn't even want to throw away the wrapping paper. My confidence soared, and the next day as breakfast became even more extravagant. I stuffed extra pieces of fried chicken between the 2 slices of bread. Of course, you'd need water when food gets stuck in your throat, so I secretly fished out a bottle of AMX from the bottom of the milk crate my mom was preparing as a gift. A week later, the paper bags in the male lead's desk compartment kept piling up. Even the empty AMX yogurt bottles had been opened, washed clean, and placed together. Is this considered collecting? My heart couldn't help but leap with excitement. It seems the male lead has fallen in love with my sandwiches, and by extension with me. Every day, he anxiously wonders who left them, eager to confess his feelings to the kind and beautiful girl. The West has Cinderella's glass slipper, while the East now has Li Xiaomian's breakfast sandwich pancake. So the next morning, I deliberately delivered it a little late. Sure enough, there was someone in the male lead's classroom. A painfully thin young man wearing a black baseball cap was bent over cleaning. Not the male lead isn't that tall. That's alright as long as someone sees it and becomes a witness. They definitely tell the male lead who this beautiful and kind-hearted jianbing girl really is. So, I deliberately did it right in front of him, pretending to be shy as I placed the bag into William's desk. To make sure he'd recognize me, I even secretly hooked my student ID card from my pocket and let it drop to the ground. Then, without even looking back, I turned and ran away. Before she could even run 2 steps, a faint gust of wind suddenly brushed past from behind. The next second, someone abruptly seized her wrist. A scorching heat radiated intensely from their palm. I had to stop and turn around. Finally saw the face beneath the hat brim. His skin was pale to the point of looking sickly. His bangs were so long they looked uncut for 3 months, messily covering his eyes, where he lowered his head, leaving only a sharply defined jawline visible. He appeared gloomy and peculiar. The boy seemed to realize something quickly, letting go of my hand, as if electrocuted. Lowering his gaze, he avoided my line of sight and spoke in a very soft voice. "CLA, classmate, you dropped your card." I cursed him as an idiot in my heart, but still smiled and took the card. "Thank you." The boy froze for a moment when he saw me smiling at him, and no problem. After saying this, he lowered his head, his hands at his sides, clenching and unclenching before finally gathering his courage anew. But when he looked up again, my figure had long vanished from sight. Only a campus ID card labeled pancake-wrapped Cinderella lay quietly on the ground. I ran back to the classroom, panting heavily. Damn, that brat, he almost ruined my grand plan. Wait, I was so focused on delivering breakfast to the male lead that I forgot to eat my own. Just as I was about to leave the classroom, a line of text suddenly floated before my eyes. "Didn't you realize you've been delivering breakfast to the wrong person all this time, supporting character? Who is the supporting character aren't I supposed to be the female lead? And it was delivered wrong what was delivered wrong. Wait a minute, where did this text even come from? Before I could figure it out, more bullet comments flooded in. LOL, the female lead delivered them for a whole week without realizing she got the wrong person. That's the antagonist's desk. But have you noticed ever since the female lead started delivering breakfast to the wrong person, the antagonist, who was so poor he couldn't afford meals and skinny as a rail, has actually gained a little weight? Exactly, the female lead treats those sandwiches like pack meal stuffing, every kind of meat and vegetable inside might as well crawl in there herself. Haha, one meal could last you the whole day. But the poor antagonist, he actually thought she liked him when she was just delivering to the wrong person. My footsteps faltered as I stepped out of the classroom. Instinctively, I looked up and saw the corridor not far away. There stood that gloomy, slender young man holding a jianbingguizi and an AMX in his arms, his eyes shining brightly as he looked at me. Haha, look at the villain's hopeless state. His mind must already be playing the wedding march on autopilot. Villain, she really likes me, secretly bringing me food every day. I think I'm starting to like her too. I heard this villain's character is quite striking, the kind of gloomy, obsessive male ghost who once he sets his sights on someone will cling to them until death. Look at his gaze. He probably already thinks the female supporting character belongs to him. Haha, female supporting character, you're done for that. Just how our villain is give him the slightest kindness and he LL latch onto you like a male ghost. The barrage of comments laughed and joked in unison while I stood there trembling. This is terrible. Not only did I fail to seduce the male lead, but I also managed to provoke the villain. I remember the system mentioning that this villain Ethan would later commit countless atrocities and meet a tragic end. If he latches onto me, will I even survive? No, I need to cut off this cursed connection immediately. I quickly turned my head and ducked into the classroom. Fortunately, it was almost time for morning self-study, and the classroom was gradually filling with people. I breathed a sigh of relief, figuring he wouldn't dare chase after me recklessly. I lowered my head to prepare for morning reading. Suddenly, there was a commotion at the door. Hey, ISNT, that the Jinx from class 10. Why is he here? Don't get near him, look at him, gloomy as a sewer rat. So creepy. Did he come to our class looking for someone? Come on, someone like him has friends. Exactly, I heard anyone who gets close to him has bad luck all day. Why is he just standing at the door not moving? Who are you waiting for? Hurry up and leave already. A few boys gave him some shoves. Ethan didn't move. He remained standing quietly by the back door, still clutching the sandwiches and yogurt, his gaze fixed intently on my retreating figure, unblinking as if trying to bore a hole through my back with his stare. The boy at the back door thought it was bad luck and shut the door right in his face. Ethan said nothing, silently walking forward to the window, continuing to stare at me through the glass. The person by the window. So the curtains were drawn shut again. Though I remained seated without turning around, I still felt prickles down my spine. Before my eyes, bullet comments kept scrolling relentlessly. Villain, can't see wifey anymore, boohoo. Villain, it's okay if my wife doesn't want to see me. I'm not really that sad, truly not that sad at all. As long as my wife is willing to be nice to me in the future, it's fine, sob. No wife, sob, wife, please just look at me once. I simply pretended not to see him, wiped off some sweat, and continued with my homework. Luckily, he probably felt embarrassed too, and didn't come looking for me in the next few classes. But going to the bathroom meant passing right by their classroom door. After holding it for 2 class periods, I finally couldn't take it anymore. I dashed there at a 100-meter sprint pace. On the way back, though, I couldn't resist stealing a glance through their classroom's back door. The result was spotting the familiar lanky figure at a glance. Yet he wasn't sitting in his usual seat. For some reason, he was standing by the trash can, staring blankly into it for a moment before decisively reaching in to rummage through the garbage. Just as I was puzzled, a flood of bullet comments appeared. The poor villain, the sandwich the female lead gave him was thrown in the trash. Sigh, he was already struggling to afford meals, counting on this one meal a day. He couldn't bear to eat it right away, so he carefully wrapped it in his coat and hid it in his desk only for those guys who disliked him to find it. How can people be so cruel? Aren't all villains like this, bullied since childhood, enduring hardships until they finally lose all hope and love for this world, hating everyone equally? When a person hits rock bottom, even a single straw can crush them, let alone having meals made by someone they like thrown into the trash. With the villain's vengeful nature, do you really think he'd just calmly let it slide? Of course not. Spoiler alert, tonight Ethan will corner those guys in an alley and beat them up, then get expelled, marking the start of his villainous life. No way. I heard his grades were pretty good. If none of this had happened, he could definitely gotten into a top-tier university with a bright and promising future ahead instead of ending up in the underworld fighting for his life in the rain covered in wounds. There's no helping it. That's just his fate. The barrage of comments made my blood boil. What fate right now? All he wants is to have a full stomach, such a simple wish. Why trade away your future for this? I was so angry I forgot my earlier vow to stay away from him. Without a word, I stormed into the classroom and grabbed Ethan's arm just as he was about to reach into the trash can. Under the wide-eyed stares of several boys who'd come to watch the drama unfold, dragging the person outside by the hand, Ethan, who had been grabbed, instinctively tried to shake it off. When he turned and saw it was me, he immediately lowered his head and obediently followed behind. His tall, slender frame stumbled along as I pulled him, yet he didn't utter a word. Beneath the deliberately lowered brim of his hat, dark eyes fixed on my hand, gripping his, slowly stirring with ripples. The barrage of comments also erupted in excitement. What's the supporting female character up to? Never mind, why is the supporting female character so cool? The villain is really going to love this to death. Wifey's little bro worships you. Only when we reached the teacher's office door did I realize that Ethan was being pulled in an awkward and uncomfortable position, so I quickly let go of his hand. Sorry about that. After apologizing, I couldn't help but scold him. If you weren't feeling well, why didn't you say something? Ethan lowered his eyes without speaking, but his right hand subtly lifted, thinking it went unnoticed to touch the left wrist I had just grabbed. The next second, I saw the faintest smile slowly curl at the corners of his lips. It lasted only a moment before vanishing as if it had never been there. Me alright, we're clearly not on the same wavelength. Come with me. I led Ethan to his homeroom teacher's desk, politely explained what had just happened in the classroom. Finally, I pretended to clutch my chest with lingering fear. I just happened to pass by and see it by chance. If even I could witness this by accident, it's clearly just the tip of the iceberg. Who knows how badly he's being bullied normally. Ethan's grades are so good, he even ranked second in the whole school last time. He's definitely Tsinghua or beta material. The middle-aged man who had seemed indifferent to the earlier complaints instantly straightened up upon hearing this. Minor incidents before might not have seemed like a big deal, but getting into Tsinghua or beta means a substantial bonus for him. The homeroom teacher immediately snapped to attention, expressing serious concern about the matter and promising to review the surveillance footage for a thorough investigation, assuring us not to worry. The villain couldn't suppress the smile at the corner of his mouth. In his eyes, his wife was practically glowing. Enough said. Your little brother bows in worship to you, wifey. Seeing the barrage of comments snapped me back to my senses. Stepping out of the office, the two stood facing each other, a bit awkward. Hey, if someone is bullying you, you should speak up. The best thing is to tell the teacher. With grades as good as yours, they want to ignore you and don't resort to methods that hurt others and yourself, okay? No idea if he took it to heart. All I knew was that he kept staring down at me. His dark eyes held emotions I couldn't decipher, glistening with moisture. Bullet comment. The villain. What's my wife babbling about? I want to kiss her. Supporting female character. You're done for. You can't shake off the villain now. I instinctively looked up and locked eyes with Ethan. Sure enough, his gaze slowly drifted downward until it settled on my lips, lingering there. My heart seemed to skip a beat in fright. I haven't finished my homework, yet I should go. I fled back to the classroom as if running for my life. My heart pounding wildly, I slapped myself across the face. Just this once. That was definitely Laura, the justice warrior, taking over just now. Time to log off and get back on track. I'll just keep my distance from now on. He won't cling to me, I silently reassured myself. Wait, then should I still deliver breakfast tomorrow? First and foremost, I must deliver it to the male lead, William. What about Ethan? If I continue delivering, will he sink deeper into misunderstanding? But if she stopped delivering them? He came from a poor family, spending all the money he earned on weekends and holidays on tuition and books, leaving barely anything for food. Almost every day, just a steamed bun and a packet of pickled vegetables would suffice. To have grown so tall, despite that, seems like the villain's halo was working its magic after all. After all, a future gang leader must absolutely dominate others in both height and presence. But for someone studying until dizzy-eyed and still having to work part-time, every day one steamed bun is definitely not enough. He is absolutely malnourished by now. Maybe I should keep giving, but just less each time. Giving less each day to let him understand my good intentions. Anyway, the college entrance exams are coming soon. Soon we'll go our separate ways and never see each other again. Let him misunderstand for now. Otherwise, if he finds out I'm not secretly in love with him, but mistakenly giving him food out of pity, that would be worse. He definitely wouldn't accept it. He might even put me on his future underworld assassination list. I'll just deliver breakfast, nothing more than that. After making up my mind, I let out a sigh of relief. As for the matter between the female supporting character and the female lead, I asked the system about it. It said the substitute it hired before made a mistake. I am indeed the female supporting character, but I'm also the white moonlight of the male lead, William's youth, after pursuing the male lead, having a relationship, and then heartlessly breaking up with him, leading to his despondence and eventual redemption by the female lead. I'll receive the corresponding reward once this plotline is completed. It's a simple task. There's money to be made and a handsome guy to date. Why not give it a try the next day to avoid running into Ethan? I woke up extra early and tiptoed into the male lead's classroom. There I spotted a familiar figure sitting by the window. Perhaps because no one was around, Ethan wasn't wearing his hat. He sat quietly with his head bowed, his oversized school uniform outlining his slender shoulder blades. Slender, well-defined fingers lightly grasped the pen, scratching softly against the paper. The pale, delicate profile revealed beneath long hair seemed to glow faintly in the dim classroom. As if sensing my presence, he swiftly picked up his hat and put it on. Then he looked up, his eyes shining brightly at me. Like a puppy finally seeing its owner. My body froze for an instant. How am I supposed to deliver breakfast to William with him here? Just as I was about to step back, the light in Ethan's eyes instantly dimmed. Me, all right. I steeled myself and walked in. First I handed over the sandwich under his heavy gaze. Then quickly turned around and walked stiffly to the male lead William's desk. My heart began to pound like a little drum. Should I leave it or not after all my pursuit plan has been delayed for so long? It's fine. I gritted my teeth and simply raised my hand to toss the second sandwich into the male lead's desk drawer. Her wrist was tightly grasped once again. She looked up, meeting Ethan's confused and bewildered gaze. Why did you give it to him? That's William's desk. Of course I knew that was William's desk. I was giving it to him. Damn it, why are you acting all wrong now? I forced a laugh, haha, I made an extra portion today, and randomly picked a lucky recipient. I just finished explaining when it hit me again. No, how am I supposed to deliver it tomorrow? If I say that, what if that guy is still there? I quickly changed my tune. Oh, the breakfast sandwiches I make are so good that even the whole class knows about them. William asked me to bring him some. He paid for them. Ethan frowned as if pondering carefully. Really? Really? I pretended to be nonchalant and patted his shoulder. Hungry, go eat. Oh, and has your homeroom teacher's investigation come out yet? Ethan was quickly distracted by my question. It's out. They apologized to me. Thank you. That's good. That's good. With that, I couldn't wait to leave. Suddenly, a flash of red appeared before my eyes. I froze for a moment, realizing it was a meticulously wrapped rose. Vibrant, fresh, still dewy, blooming at its most perfect. Here you go, and thank you. Ethan handed it over, his gaze burning with intensity. Her movements and expression showed no trace of shyness, as if she considered it the most natural thing in the world. I was utterly flustered. No. How did things end up like this? The barrage of comments also chimed in at the perfect moment to stir up trouble. Already giving roses at such a young age. The villain must be head over heels in love by now. Just take it, female lead. The villain worked at the flower shop all night for free to get this picked the most expensive variety too. He yanked it right out of a pre-wrapped bouquet, insisting it was the freshest and prettiest in the whole shop. The owner's face turned green with rage. Worked all night. Not a single penny was spent just to get me a rose. I stared blankly at the flower Ethan deemed the freshest and most beautiful in the entire shop. Her heart felt as if gently scratched by a kitten's paw. In the end, I took it anyway. Between classes, I was staring blankly at the roses. Suddenly, someone called out to me from the back door. Laura, someone's looking for you. His voice sounded uncertain, and the way he looked at me was strange. Over his shoulder, my gaze landed on Ethan standing at the door. I paid no attention to the strange looks from the people around me. She walked straight over and asked what's wrong. Ethan quickly unzipped his school uniform and pulled out a plastic bag from inside, placing it in my hand. His eyes sparkled with amusement, as if he'd done something particularly praiseworthy. Looking at me with a mix of pride and anticipation, I asked around, he didn't pay you the Jianbingguozi here, years back. I was somewhat bewildered. Asked who? Ethan declared firmly, William. The moment I understood, I nearly saw stars. It's still warm. I kept it close to my chest. Ethan let me feel the bag. His tone couldn't hide his pride. Big bro, what have you done? What exactly are you so smug about? You actually went and asked him, didn't you? I'm completely done with this, utterly done. After screaming and cursing wildly in my heart, I smiled through gritted teeth. Thank you so much, Ethan. You've done a fantastic job. Puffed up with pride at the praise, Ethan looked like he'd wag his tail to the sky if he had won. No problem, he said, earnestly reminding me just make sure to collect the money in advance next time. If this conversation went on any longer, I'd genuinely pass out. I'll have to find another way to pursue William. But overt methods are definitely out of the question if Ethan finds out I'm done for. So, I secretly asked a classmate to deliver love letters to William. I've sent nearly 10 letters already, exhausting my lifetime's worth of literary talent. William finally agreed to meet me after school. In the classroom, the male lead, William, had just finished reading the 10th love letter word by word. Behind the letter paper, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly, his eyes brimming with unconcealable delight. He then carefully folded each love letter one by one and tucked them into a small compartment in his school bag. A sharp-eyed boy spotted it and chased after him, shouting, Hey William, what's that? I thought you never accept love letters. A classmate nearby overheard and teased, What do you know? Of course he'd accept it if it's from the one he likes, and there are 10 of them no less. William ignored them all. He borrowed a mirror from the female classmate sitting in front of him, struggling to fix her hair in the mirror no bigger than a palm. The homework was long finished. The remaining time felt slightly unbearable, yet the waiting period was the sweetest of all. The first second the school bell rang, William sprang up from his seat and headed straight for the classroom door. Yet he waited at the back door for nearly 5 hours. Laura never showed up. The last class before school ended. I was waiting for the dismissal bell to ring, so I could go to our meeting. But then the chat messages said Ethan had a fever today, yet he stubbornly insisted on coming to school just to bring me flowers. In the afternoon, he couldn't hold on any longer and had to ask for leave to go home and rest. Coincidentally, Ethan's father, who loved drinking and beating people, was coming home today. As it happened, Ethan was too weak from fever to resist and was beaten half to death, left lying on the ground with no one to care for him. This only deepened his hatred and despair. The next day, when he had recovered enough to be beaten again, he took the knife hidden under his pillow and stabbed his father, without hesitation. But he didn't manage to kill him and ended up being sent to prison by his father for a while. He also happened to miss the college entrance exams. When I saw the bullet screen comments describing the plot, I nearly jumped out of my seat. Yes, Laura's overwhelming sense of justice uncontrollably surfaced again. I didn't even wait for the school bell to ring, throwing down my pen to go find Ethan. Luckily, I found him halfway. Ethan, I called out breathlessly to that frail, almost swaying figure. The boy's back stiffened for a moment. He seemed unable to believe it, yet the next second, he took another slow step forward. A barrage of comments popped up, the villain must think his fever making him hallucinate his wife's voice. The villain must be my imagination, my wife's in class, how could she be here? Frustrated beyond measure, I called out to him again. Ethan this time, he heard it clearly and turned around sharply. Beneath the brim of his hat his eyes were as if washed clean, gleaming darkly. I ran over hands on my hips as I caught my breath. Only then did I look up. Haha, so I heard from classmates that you're sick and no one is home to take care of you. How about coming to my place? After speaking, I felt it might be too abrupt, so I added another sentence. Oh, it just so happens that my mom knows you like the jianbingguozi. I make she has come up with a few new flavors and wanted to invite you to try them. Is that okay? But the person in front of me seemed frozen, not moving a muscle. Nervously, I tugged at Ethan's sleeve. Come on, come back with me, okay? Bullet comments floated before my eyes. Haha, the villain's brain just crashed like he got hit by a jackpot, understands every word separately, but can't process them together. Is that really my wife talking? Are you really going to invite him home, wife? Enough. Probably in the villain's ears it sounds like the supporting female character is inviting him to meet her parents. After a long while, Ethan's dull eyes finally shifted, slowly landing on my face. Okay, he said, Mom, I'm home. Fortunately, my mother played along. She caught the swaying young man in one swift motion. Goodness, how did you get this feverish, silly child going to school with such a high temperature? Don't you know health comes first? After settling Ethan on the sofa, she kept chattering while tidying the guest room and making the bed, all while directing me to fetch water and medicine. 10 minutes later, the slender young man was tucked into a fluffy, soft quilt wrapped up like a caterpillar. She had heard me talk about Ethan's background and was so heartbroken she didn't know what to do. Stay with Auntie these 2 days. She patted her chest with bold determination. Auntie will make you something delicious. Ethan was bundled up with only his eyes peeking out. He watched my mom, who was wearing an apron and frantically mixing medicine with me. For some reason his eyes blinked very, very slowly. After taking his medicine, he was just about to lie down again. Then he heard the sound of a door closing outside. Laura, look what delicious food Dad brought for you. It was my father returning. Huh, why is no one here? Where did everyone go? Are you playing hide and seek with me, Laura, honey? No one answered him. He continued to whine pitifully, like an abandoned husky. Wife, Laura, My mom couldn't take it anymore and put down her bowl. What are you yelling for? I'm right here. My dad pouted as he came in. Why didn't you answer me? I'm angry now. I need a kiss to feel better. Just as he walked in, he locked eyes with the young man sitting on the bed. Their eyes widened simultaneously. Damn it, I forgot to tell my dad. Would he get kicked out if I brought a strange boy home so blatantly? A few seconds later, in the tense atmosphere, my dad opened his mouth and pointed with his hand. How can you give a boy a pink blanket? I forgot my dad isn't quite right in the head either. In the end, both my parents ended up hugging each other's heads while looking at Ethan with pity. Such a good kid. What kind of mess is this? I always feel like I've forgotten something before going to bed at night. In the middle of the night, I suddenly sat up. Oh no, I forgot to find William. The next morning, because Ethan wasn't fully recovered from his illness, my mom didn't let him come to school. I went straight to the male lead's classroom door to wait for him. After pacing around nervously several times, William finally emerged. As expected of the male lead, even at such a young age, his handsomeness was utterly captivating. When he walked out with his tall stature and long legs, I thought he was some young boy band idol. Filled with guilt, I bowed repeatedly the moment he appeared, apologizing frantically. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stand you up yesterday. But then someone pressed down on my shoulders and helped me straighten up. I instinctively looked up only to meet William's gentle, smiling eyes. It's okay. I didn't wait too long yesterday. Either you must have had something going on, right? Wow, so understanding. I felt even more guilty, clasping my hands together in sincere apology. Today, how about today? Give me another chance, please. William smiled. All right. Kicking pebbles with her toes, she walked to the milk tea shop with William chatting and laughing along the way. Let me treat you to some milk tea. I was about to enter the shop while waving my phone but was stopped. How could I let a girl sit here for a while? I'll be right back. As I sat down, I let out a sigh of relief. I never expected the male lead to have such a good personality, so easygoing and pleasant to talk to without any trace of that aloof superiority complex. Looks like this time it's a sure thing. Let us keep meeting like this every day to build our connection, and after the college entrance exams I'll confess my feelings. Our grades are about the same, so we should be able to get into the same university. Lost in these thoughts, William came out holding 2 cups of milk tea. Let us go, he said, handing me one with the straw already inserted. I don't know if it's a coincidence, but the sweetness and toppings were just to my taste. At the crossroads where we were about to part ways, suddenly someone tugged at my backpack strap. Wait, William circled around to my back. The zipper on the last compartment of your backpack, closed. Ah, really? I couldn't see when I turned my head, so I had to ask him for help. Then I'll trouble you with it. The crisp sound of a zipper rang out as William came back to stand beside me. All right, see you tomorrow then. I waved at him with a smile. Turning around, I suddenly noticed a familiar figure, standing beneath a tree not far away. His aloof profile was etched with gloomy, icy lines. He was staring straight at me and William. Ethan, wasn't he supposed to be sick? How did my mother let him out? I frowned and jogged over. Ethan, you're still sick. Why did you come out? Ethan slowly withdrew his gaze from the distance, letting it settle gently on my face again. I came to pick you up. No need to ask, he must have sneaked out while my mom was setting up her stall. Suddenly, I realized something was off. I looked again at Ethan's face beneath the brim of his cap. Did you get a haircut? Ethan immediately averted his gaze and pulled his cap down even lower. Yeah, your mom cut it for me. I reached out to tug at his hat. Don't cover it up. It looks so good. I have to admit, this villain has got something going for him. With the long bangs that used to cover his face now trimmed away, his entire exquisitely pale face and sharp eyebrows were revealed. He is even more handsome than the male lead. Should I take off my hat? I kindly advised him. It really looks handsome. Ethan, really? Really, I nodded. No sooner had the words been spoken than he decisively removed his hat. As if to ensure I could see more clearly, he leaned slightly closer, seemingly intent on presenting himself to me. A handsome face loomed ever larger before my eyes. In an instant my mind went blank, leaving only the sensation that my breath had caught in my throat. When I came to my senses, I quickly reached out to press against his chest. I can see clearly now, so handsome, so very handsome. Ethan seemed satisfied and straightened up, casually tossing the hat into the trash bin. Why, you're just going to throw it away? I widened my eyes. Ethan nodded. If I kept it, I wouldn't be able to resist wearing it. Me, something feels really off here. It'll be nice to wear occasionally in the future too. I didn't dwell on it further because Ethan still seemed quite weak, his body involuntarily tilting sideways as he walked. So I reached out and steadied him. Don't lean that way, lean on me instead. If you fall, at least you'll fall on me. Ethan obediently moved closer to me at once. Okay. I didn't see the barrage of comments above my head. Such a cunning villain. He was raging across 3 miles just moments ago, but turns weak the instant he meets his wife. The planned after-school walk with William never happened, because from that day on Ethan almost always walked me home. I could only write William an apology note. William was very understanding and agreed we'd talk after the college entrance exams. Time passed almost in the blink of an eye. When the final exam bell rang, I put down my pen and turned to look out the window, only to find Ethan already waiting at the door. The boy had dark brows and long lashes, his eyes brimming with scattered starlight when he smiled, twinkling faintly. Our antagonist safely made it through the college entrance exams. Perhaps in the future he too could have a brilliant and dazzling life like the male lead. During dinner together that evening, they had their first drink together. The wind blew, bringing a slight chill. Just as I hunched my shoulders, Ethan took off his coat and draped it over me. After putting the coat on me, he didn't walk away. Instead, he crouched down and leaned against my legs. I thought he was drunk and hurried to pull him up. But the moment I touched him, Ethan's hands tightly wrapped around mine, almost blissfully burying his face in them and nuzzling gently. A bullet comment floated leisurely by like a stray dog that finally found its way home. Villain, top tier lung hit. Villain, my wife's hands smell so nice, it'd be even better if she could slap me with them. I just felt a warm, slightly ticklish sensation and nudged him away. Could you let go, please? Ethan shook his head. No, if I let go, you'll disappear. Don't chase me away. I'll be good. I'm very good, please, I beg you. With every word spoken, his palm grew strangely itchier, until finally, he softly called my name, Laura. Even my heart began to tingle with itchiness, while helping Ethan home along the way. I ran into William. At that moment, Ethan was like a boneless feline, most of his body leaning dependently against me. An awkward silence fell as their eyes met. I opened my mouth to explain that he was drunk. William chuckled. Why wasn't I the first one? When I took a step forward to hear better, but someone wrapped their arms around my waist. Laura, Ethan buried his head in the crook of my neck and nuzzled against me. I grew even more embarrassed. I grabbed his hair, trying to pull his head up, but it wouldn't budge, as if it had grown roots into my neck. Why wasn't I the first one you looked for after the exam? As if completely oblivious to Ethan's actions, William curled his lips into a smile, though his eyes were filled with nothing but resignation and resentment. I understood what he meant and lowered my head in slight panic. I'm sorry. It's all right, William sighed softly, as if he could forgive everything with ease. If I agree to be with you now, is it still not too late? Laura, under the dim streetlight, he gazed at me tenderly with lowered eyes. I like you too. Be with me. I don't know why, but he emphasized that word too particularly hard, as if by agreeing we'd become mutually willing, perfectly matched lovers. My heart suddenly sank. Almost simultaneously, the arm wrapped around my waist tightened abruptly. My heartbeat seemed to completely lose its rhythm. The system appeared in my mind at the same time. Say yes to him, just say, yes, if you two date and finish the plot, you'll get a huge reward. It's an offer almost no one can refuse. Yet I just can't bring myself to say it, because the person clinging to me looks like he's about to fall apart. Seems like I desperately need a comforting hug. So I could only say, I'm sorry, William. On the way home, the system fumed. Such a huge sum of money was in your hands, and you just gave it up like that. What is so great about this villain, fighting and scheming every day, acting all fake and manipulative? Yes, you did change his fate, but what about the future? What if later I cut him off. Why think so far ahead? System, if he keeps clinging to you like glue, every day sooner or later, he'll drag you down. I don't understand, but he just wanted a little love, that us all. Coincidentally, I have some to spare, and coincidentally, I can give it. Not long after Ethan moved out of that home forever filled with the stench of alcohol and terrible memories, he rented an apartment near the university. With his genius brain, he secured an internship at a gaming company. The second year after graduation, he started his own company. When the system came back for its final inspection, actually, he just wanted to see me suffer the consequences of my wrong choices. Only to see the two of us tangled together on the Villa South 10 square meter bed. The system that night. Ethan, thoroughly satisfied, wrapped his arms around my waist and whined like a puppy. Darling, I want a jianbingguizi style sandwich. Exhausted, I lay limp in his embrace. Don't even think about it from now on. The end.